I was also wondering about the role that the American owners are going to play in this because they don't live there, and you know, you're going to have Man United, Liverpool, and the impact that they could have removed from this. The role that loyalty is going to play in all of this is what?
The culture is very, very different, Dan. You and I have talked about this many times when we've talked about relegation and the difference between America and the UK. And I think that's something that really has to be understood about English football. We're talking about institutions like United, like Liverpool, John Henry, the Glazer family, Stan Kroenke at Arsenal. These clubs were established over 120 years ago and by local people for local towns and for cities to keep the community close and to do great things like we've seen throughout the pandemic in the community. And I think over in this country, here in the United States, there perhaps quite isn't that link between huge clubs and their local communities. They haven't been around as long. They weren't created by local men, local working class men for working class fans. So the loyalty that seeps through English football is incomparable really to anything over here. So when you look at it from the owner's point of view, from the American owner's point of view, I can see that it's difficult to understand. They don't understand why anybody would have relegation. Why would anybody threaten a club's future? But that's all part of what makes English football so beautiful because it's competitive, it's sporting merit, it's how good are you on the day and how good can you be? Can you really pull off this amazing result against a huge team? And we see it all the time. And that's what makes the Premier League, in my view and many others, the greatest league in the world in any sport. So I think loyalty, they may be coming up against a bit of a surprise with this backlash because the loyalty is a huge part of this game. And I think also we have to look at ourselves as well, Dan, because 15 years ago, these clubs were owned by fans and by local businessmen. Well, they sold out. They did sell out to American owners, to Russian owners like Roman Abramovich at Chelsea. And now, 10, 15 years on, we're seeing that maybe that was the reason why these business owners wanted to buy these clubs to maybe turn them into these European superpowers. So, a lot of things have gone wrong over the years and a lot of people are now looking at themselves. So I think loyalty in football, people laugh. There isn't always a lot of it, but my goodness, between fan and club, Dan, it's tribal and it's a religion.
I haven't heard you this passionate about. I know you love your sport, but you're worried about your sport.
I'm concerned. I'm concerned very much so. I feel that the pyramid of English football in the UK, again, something that I wouldn't expect anyone in the States to understand, but it's not just the Premier League, Dan. I think I've told you this before. There are five divisions underneath that, and they're all professional. And these are professional players. Now, the money from the Premier League trickles down to all of these clubs that make up the local towns and villages in the UK. And the worry, Dan, is this, that if the 6 teams from the Premier League go into the European Super League and become so rich, the dream is over in the Premier League because the Premier League becomes totally non-competitive because these 6 will have so much money that nobody could ever compete. And then they'll have 14 clubs in the Premier League trying to get into a Champions League, which won't have any champions in it, which means you can finish 8th in the Premier League and get into the Champions League because these other 6 don't want any part of the Champions League. And all of a sudden, the Premier League becomes non-competitive. The broadcast rights would be nowhere near the value they are now. And the money and the dream doesn't trickle down to all these clubs below, which is the very essence of English football. So my concern is that hasn't been thought through. And we are yet, of course, to see the full plan because we still haven't seen exactly what these owners want. Let's get the full plan and carry on this conversation. But it's a passionate time. We do need to be cool heads and calm heads. There are rumors today that it might crumble. So let's see where it goes. But yeah, I am concerned for the future of my sport, for sure.